Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to Cavs Insider, our post-game report after the Cavs won their first game of the season. It is the preseason. It was just an exhibition, but it's a W. The Cavs win, and they got a chance to play a lot of depth tonight in a great exhibition match. Joined by Spencer Davies. We call him Spin, so if you read the Spin on CavsInsider.com, you know who wrote it. It wasn't me. It was Spin. And he'll have his comments coming up a little bit later tonight. But in the meantime, we got a chance to chat a little bit about this one. And Spence, it was kind of what you expected, right? A night off for all the starters, a chance to see what this depth looks like, and a 120-89 win.
Yeah, I think the theme of the night for me was that sharing is caring. And I think that's going to be the headline for the Spin tonight, because there were just a ton of assists. There were like 7 guys in double figures, just a whole lot of selflessness that I saw out there today. And, it's not an opponent that you're used to seeing. It's not the NBA level of competition per se, but it looked like it was free flowing today. And I think it started with Ty Jerome and Karis LeVert just coming out there. Karis got it started in the first quarter with 8 points. Second quarter, Ty Jerome scored 9, but they each combined for 7 assists, and I think they each had 3 or 4 rebounds as well. So they really set the tone tonight, and I thought they did a good job of that. And then, the young guys just kind of picked it up from there. I thought that Craig Porter Jr. had a tremendous game tonight, and he had a really good feel for the ball, good feel for the pace of the game, and he just kind of dictated how things went in that offense. And threes were wild tonight for sure, because Amani was knocking down 3 or 4 of them. You had George Niang, as we've seen all preseason, do the same thing. Guys were just ready to go, and they've got a lot of offensive talent on this team, and you saw that even with 3 or 4 of their best players out.
I think these are exciting games for fans, because there's always this element of like, what's the future hold? And you think you know what your stars are going to do, what your starters are going to do. It's nice when those two things are one and the same. But if you want to win an NBA title, you better have depth, and you better be developing talent along the way. And I know we've talked about him a lot here during the preseason. JB alluded to it in his postgame press conference that he felt the Cavs were lucky that Amani was available at 46, and had he been a lottery pick, that he feels Amani has the skill set to be in the running in the conversation as a rookie of the year kind of guy. I wonder what the future looks like here immediately for him, because every time we see him on the floor, man, you walk away from a game going, it's going to be kind of hard not to play this guy.
It is. And the way that he started, 3 straight games in double figures. And I laughed actually because JB got it wrong. It was 49, but it's okay because it was late in the second round, and they are fortunate to have had him there, because he is a lottery talent. And if he was in a different draft class, there's an absolute chance that he would have been a lottery pick. So it's more or less about what is this guy doing to kind of fit in an NBA floor, right? He's a pro's pro. He's really adapting well. And I feel like his teammates see it and they sense it. And when you even talk to some of the coaches, like when I talked to Boobie Gibson, for example, he was just thrilled with how much of a pro he was and approaching the work the right way. And I think that's the biggest lesson in all of this for him is, he's only 19 years old, and he's going against guys sometimes that are 10 years older than him, or whoever, is more experienced than him at the NBA level. But he just looks like he belongs, and he has no fear whatsoever. He's letting go threes left and right when necessary. He's making the right next pass. He's cutting to the basket. He's doing all sorts of things. And the coaches are impressed, and so are his teammates.
When you start to think about the guys that you expected to see something from, especially the youth in the preseason, I know there's still another game to go coming up on Friday against Atlanta. But I am curious. I'm sorry, I said Atlanta. I meant the Pacers open the year with Atlanta. I am curious outside of Amani, because to me, he kind of feels like the obvious answer. Outside of him, what other guy on either the very end of the NBA roster or on a 2-way contract has stood out most to you so far through 3 games?
Well, at the end of I think I'm going to go right back to Craig Porter Jr., just the way that he's able to kind of dictate the game, play his own pace, and trick guys. I loved what he was saying in his post game today, talking about how it looks like he plays slow, but then he can just kind of catch you off guard, and then boom, he's darting to the basket, and then he tries to dunk on your head. He's just kind of got that explosiveness, but he's also got that sense of calm. He's got a sense of really knowing when and when not to push the right buttons. And, for being a rookie, he's only 23 years old, but mind you, he's a rookie at 23. Darius Garland's going into his fifth year at 23. So it's kind of funny that they're the same age, but Darius has got 5 more years of NBA experience on him. But Craig's done a really nice job this preseason of just controlling the pace and of not making mistakes and making winning plays. It just ended up, it really just comes down to making winning plays for these guys to get attention.
Last thing here, because we're going into the preseason finale coming up later this week, and I know we'll talk about it certainly pregame, but JB Bickerstaff alluded to the fact that he's kind of hopeful that Friday's game in Indianapolis is going to be more of a dress rehearsal for what they hope the regular season is going to hold. In your eyes, when you hear that comment, what does that look and feel like to you?
Well, dress rehearsal to me is ramp it up and treat it like it's a regular season game. From my vantage point, that probably means that Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and the like are going to get their minutes, and they're going to be playing them. And you're going to be probably playing against the Pacers who are going to be thinking the same thing. So that's going to be the closest thing to regular season basketball that we're going to get in the preseason. And then the fourth quarter, obviously, you have the training camp invitees trying to really show their stuff and try to crack the rotation, crack the roster, so to speak, and not just to show the Cavs that, but also to other teams. So that's their opportunity in the fourth. But I mean, for the first 3 quarters, I bet you that's closer to what the rotation is going to look like this year. You're probably going to see guys really trying to speed up and trying to get that conditioning down. They've been really running a lot the last couple of weeks, and even before that, when they had their preseason, if you will. So it'll be fun when they end up over in Indiana, and it's an in-division rival, and it's always a fun game too when you go against them, and they've got a lot of talent too. Tyrese Halliburton, obviously the first one that comes to mind, but should be a good game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks and if it comes together there in Indiana.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. That game is at 7:00 on Friday night in Indiana. Of course, we'll have some coverage for you on CavsInsider.com leading up to, during, and after that game. And then they start counting for real. A week from Thursday, the team will be in New York City. They're going to be in Brooklyn to take on the Nets and get it started against a team in the East that is very interesting. The Nets are kind of a polarizing group, and I'm interested to see how the Cavs are going to come out game 1 and try to put it on Brooklyn. We'll talk about that in the week leading up to game number 1. But in the meantime, preseason at home is a wrap, and so we'll leave it there. For Spencer Davies, I'm Brendan Gulick. See you real soon with all the latest news and info right over there at CavsInsider.com.